Sepehr, former senior officer. A moment ago, you said that the ministers in Vienna at OPEC go back to the political leaders in their home countries for guidance. But in some of the countries we're talking about, it's not necessarily the political leaders who really have the power, but it's the clerics. Iran is a perfect example, but not the only one. What role do those clerics have in places like Saudi Arabia, Iran, even in Iraq, in the decisions that are made in Vienna at OPEC? Do they have a say?
Well, Iran is a theocracy like the Vatican. And the president at the moment of Iran is not a cleric.
But they have on TV, so. I mean, there's a lot of religious fervor to what he says, but there were other times where there are other leaders who were not that, and yet still, according to the Constitution, the clerics have power. So what, can they influence what goes on?
Well, if we say that the religious leader, which is Iran's leader, the top man, and he has a say in the OPEC policies, could be. But the point is, the president is responsible for any economic decisions, even in terms of OPEC policies. In terms of Saudi Arabia, in regards to Saudi Arabia is not a theocracy. The king of Saudi Arabia is a respected leader who happens to be called the custodian of the two holy mosques, because the land of Saudi Arabia holds these two Medina, Mecca mosques. But he is not a cleric. He is religious. So is the leader of Iran. So is President Ahmadinejad. He's religious too. But that doesn't make him a cleric. Important decisions of the nation are in the hands of the executive, and the executive happens to be Mr. Ahmadinejad, who's the president at the moment. Prior to him, to his presidency, it was a cleric, Mr. Khatami. So Mr. Khatami did have a direct say in the decisions that Iran made in OPEC.
When prices went to $140, I can only imagine there was some sense of panic within OPEC. There was panic on the streets, people filling their cars with, maybe we should buy hybrids, maybe we should. And since then, there has been, I think there's kind of a perfect storm. Global warming being more widely accepted, people much more conscious of this, alternative forms of energy, even some of the major former oil people have now started investing in wind farms and things like that. How is that going to affect the future of OPEC in your mind? I mean, clearly the world is trying to get off of oil. Is that going to weaken OPEC further? Is there a future without OPEC potentially?
When I was in OPEC in the 90s, there was always a talk about OPEC's demise, and it never happened. I don't think there's going to be a demise of OPEC. In fact, I think OPEC is getting stronger, because oil price is getting higher. And I don't see the future of $7 or $9 a barrel of oil anymore.
But if oil gets so expensive, then
people will drive less, as it happened in 2000.
Right. But doesn't that weaken OPEC?
During the American recession, people drove less.
Right.
So it depends on your pocket, how much money you have in your pocket, not how much the price of oil is. Now, if there is recession, we drive less. If the price goes to 145, as in July 2007, again, people will drive less. But the point is, we are going to be dependent on oil, whether we like it or not. Now, there was an estimate in IEA, the Paris-based IEA, saying that, we need 3 Saudi Arabias by 2030. Well, the other Saudi Arabia is coming on stream, Iraq.
Right.
Now, where are we going to have the third one? I don't know, maybe Canada's oil sands.
Well, there's so much more to talk about, peak oil and other things maybe we'll have you on another time. Thank you for joining us. Next up, we'll share some of your comments that you've made to our recent Oil Hour that aired 2 weeks ago when the Standard returns.